Little did Julian Assange know, this day in 2012 would change how he loved and how the world would watch that love unfold. He stepped into the Ecuadorian embassy in Knightsbridge to avoid extradition to Sweden. He did not step out for 7 years. What began as asylum became a crucible, a gilded, windowless room that held one of the most controversial publishers of the 21st century and the improbable human story that grew inside it. Context is everything. If you're not following from the beginning, you'll probably never see us again. But if you are, then congratulations. Let's dive into the full story. In 2010, WikiLeaks published troves of classified U.S. military and diplomatic files. The collateral murder video, Afghanistan and Iraq war logs, diplomatic cables, released by U.S. Army analyst Chelsea Manning. The revelations provoked diplomatic crises across Europe and the world, and lit a firestorm that turned Assange into a figure adored by transparency activists and vilified by governments. By 2012, facing a separate Swedish investigation and what he said was a risk of onward extradition to the United States, Assange sought sanctuary in an embassy in London under protection from Ecuador's government. Into that claustrophobic exile walked Stella Moris, a young lawyer who had begun advising WikiLeaks and Julian on legal matters. Their relationship grew in whispers and court filings, under tight security and sustained surveillance reported by journalists. Between 2015 and 2019, they became partners in the rawest sense. Lovers, legal advocates, and parents. 2 sons were born while Assange remained inside the embassy. Children who would first know their father as a shadow on a video screen, a voice in a room they could not leave. Tension mounted around every birth, every council meeting, and every leak. The central conspiracy at the heart of the story is both legal and political. The U.S. view that Assange conspired with Manning to obtain and publish classified materials, and the counterargument that publishing newsworthy leaks is journalism, protected speech. U.S. prosecutors argued disclosure aided adversaries and endangered lives. Assange defenders insisted this was prosecution by deterrence, an attempt to criminalize a publisher who had exposed uncomfortable truths about foreign policy and military action. Complicating everything was geopolitics in Quito. Rafael Correa's Ecuador gave asylum. His successor, Lenin Moreno, recalibrated relations with Western capitals. Reports and cables revealed pressure on Quito. In April 2019, Ecuador withdrew asylum. On April 11, 2019, Metropolitan Police entered the embassy and arrested Assange. That day separated father from sons, freedom from family in one decisive act. What followed read like a modern judicial drama. Assange was charged by the U.S. over the 2010 releases. Extradition hearings, appeals, medical assessments, and international human rights pleas stretched for years. Stella, now his partner and then wife, shifted roles, from legal advisor to advocate, mother to their children, and finally petitioner to state institutions that refused him bail. In March 2022, with his world reduced to a cell in Belmarsh prison, Julian and Stella married in a small ceremony reported around the globe. A marriage performed under the glare of cameras and the weight of pending extradition. This is a love that endured surveillance, legal siege, and political calculation. It is a romance entangled with one of the era's defining controversies. Whether leaking and publishing classified materials is criminal conspiracy or essential democratic accountability. Their story did not end in a neat resolution. Instead, it became a living testament, a family formed in confinement, a legal battle that forced nations to argue in public about press freedom, national security, and the limits of power. Documentary cameras, court reporters, and human rights groups kept watch, but the intimate moments remained small, a whispered lullaby outside the embassy, a child's drawing slipped through a solicitor's bag, vows exchanged under the fluorescent lights of a prison visiting room. In Europe's theaters of law and diplomacy, the Assange-Moris story proved how love can survive inside the architecture of controversy, and how personal lives can be refracted through the prisms of state secrecy and public conspiracy.